Good morning, Mr. Guru. It's a pleasure to be able to finally speak to you today. We have seen you around the park for quite a while now, and our team has always had the desire to interview you someday. We're quite glad that the day has finally come. So, how are you doing today? I see that you're in high spirits. Yes, that's me as well. The weather is quite pleasant today, no instances of rain either. It's a lovely day to be out and about in the park. It would be great if you could give our listeners a quick introduction. Of course, you are Guru, Cubbon Park's resident dog. The park's caretakers have also been taking care of you, and they were the people who named you. You enjoy rolling in the mud, basking in the sun, and being pet by the visitors. So, how long have you been frequenting this location? 5 years, you say? Then you must have witnessed the park during the pandemic as well. That's quite interesting to know. Has anything changed in these 5 years? Ah, yes. I understand where you're coming from. I too find it surprising how quickly the area near the park has developed. There's always something new being constructed. If I'm not wrong, there are new Hopscotch buildings being constructed in the vicinity. Unfortunately, this also means that the only source of nature is within the park, which is rather odd for the city of gardens. What's that? A friend of yours used to live there? But the area has been completely cleared out for construction for a while now. Where's your friend now? Surely they must have found somewhere else to reside, right? I mean, to be nomadic is in animal nature anyways, so finding a new home shouldn't have been much of an issue. I see. I must apologize for my choice of words then. I'm sorry to hear that your friend has passed on. My sincerest condolences to his family. You say that the local animal shelter has been taking care of his wife and children? I see. Well, animal shelters these days don't receive a lot of funds. It's mostly the combined efforts of a few determined individuals that keeps these places running. Such places are dilapidated and the lack of funds is quite obvious. Most of the animals they care of end up passing away anyways. It's quite pitiful indeed. People are very reluctant to donate these days, but can we blame them? The economy has never favored the common. Yet, I'm still afraid that one day, such institutions will cease to operate altogether. Now let's move on to some lighter topics, shall we? So, Mr. Guru, what's your general opinion of Cubbon Park? Yes, it's very extensive. Lots of places to stroll. We've seen you doing exactly that, as mentioned earlier. The abundance of trees and the cool grass truly does remind us that Bangalore has not lost its natural qualities. Quite a few museums and monuments nearby as well. No wonder this is one of the most recommended hangout locations in the city. Yes, and adding on to that, couples spending time together, students hosting book clubs or studying, vendors selling their wares, the elderly strolling, and the salarymen taking their much-needed breaks. So, how was the park during the pandemic? Strangely empty. Yet you state that it did not feel odd to you at all. Would you mind elaborating a bit on that? How has this oddity not affected you in the slightest? What's that? There weren't any people to kick you, spit at you, feed you rotting food? That's harassment no matter how you look at it. It doesn't matter if you're a dog or not. So people don't care about how they treat you and your siblings. They treat you as inferior beings, constantly belittling you, thinking that they can dominate a poor creature without facing any sort of judgment. And yet they don't. And you always look so happy in spite of all of that. It's strange. You think that we only assume that all of you are happy because we don't understand your sentiments? I don't know what to say. You state that the park was cleaner and much brighter during the pandemic. The roads were clear, and you could clearly notice the cracks in the concrete. The cracks that now decorate what once was the cool soil, what once was the embrace of nature. All of that was conspicuous. It reminded you that times will change, and people will be forced to adapt. Is that so? Then where does that place you, Mr. Guru? On the periphery? On the margins? Some of your answers make me think that you're the reincarnation of Socrates. There's not much that you or any other animal, for that matter, can do in regards to this perpetual state of movement and development. Neither can I, or any other human. We cannot stop society from advancing, and our advancements are killing us literally, and killing us from within. What do you think, Mr. Guru? What do you think of humanity? That we're hypocritical. I do agree with you on that. I'm a hypocrite as well. Here I am, agreeing with you on everything you said, on the state of nature, on the state of culture, and on the state of society, whilst being one of the reasons why it's like this in the first place. I don't even know when was the last time I ignored a starving man, thinking that it's the economy's fault and not mine, from a position of being privileged, decked from the bottom up, in clean clothing, down to even an iPhone. And yet, I refuse to acknowledge my own privilege. But it's not my fault. It's really not my fault. I'm looking at you right now, deep into those dark eyes of yours, and I still can't see. I still can't see what I'm doing wrong. And yet, I feel so utterly guilty. And yet, you're still living. You're still surviving. Regardless of whether people abuse you or if your rights are snatched away from you, and I can't even acknowledge the fact that I am privileged. I don't want to acknowledge that. Am I not the victim if I was forced into the system without my consent? Or am I already consenting and I just don't realize it yet? I can no longer think. I understand your philosophy now. I too would like to bask in the sun, because that's all I can do. Thank you, Mr. Guru, for your time and your cooperation in answering my questions. And to our viewers, we hope that you enjoyed this rather short episode. Until next time, your interviewer signing off. We deeply apologize for our cast members' outburst. To provide the listeners with the best possible adulterated experience, we will be deleting this episode soon. You may still experience it until then.